Hello everyone, this is Griffin G-Dog, and today I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to just talk about Fusion World as I play a little Minecraft in the background. This isn't, this is pre-recorded, but we're talking about, this is the Fusion World video, but we're just, this is for fun. So we're not going to put Fusion World in the background of it, because it's funny. I'm going to talk about my Fusion World hot takes. Top 5 Fusion World hot takes from Griffin G-Dog. Before we start my top 5, I want to have an honorary mention. We're going to talk about the time rules. 5 minutes or 3 turns sucks. And I will be vocal about that. I think it should just be turns. I understand why people want it to be 5 minutes so they cannot stall. But I would rather someone stall than someone feel like as though they didn't earn the win. Like, you can abuse 5 minutes really easily. You can take a 4-minute turn in times, and you only give your opponent a minute to take any actions. And if you're in a winning position, you're incentivized to just sit there and play as slowly as you legally can. And that sucks. But that's just an honorable mention because I'm pretty sure that's not that hot a take. I think we'll do this on how hot the take is. My next take is pretty hot. Games should not end on turn 4. The aggro slop meta that we are in right now, it is too fast. It is, my personal opinion is not enough time for you to feel like your decisions matter in a game. You only get to make so many decisions in a game. Well, there's so many micro decisions, but when the game ends on turn 4, there's no payoff for those decisions. There's no long game. There's no, oh, I worked through and made my way. It's just who drew better cards when it's by turn 4. There's no substance to it, ending a game on turn 4, and I'm going to stand by that. Like, when you end the game, and we'll say for maybe turn 5, there's some decks that'll end it on turn 4 or 5. It's just too fast. If you can play a deck that's ending the game that early, it's a bad play pattern. It incentivizes bad, playing patterns, because at the professional level, it's not like a bunch of aggro decks that end on turn 4. It's usually mid-range decks that a player can really show their decision-making skills, and you don't get that when the game ends on turn 4 to 5. So that was number 5. Number 4. There are very few control decks in Fusion World. I love control as an archetype in most games that I play. I like having the option to manipulate my opponent's board state and have answers to their threats. Fusion World has very few true control decks, and I think that we could use a few more. I like the idea. I like what UI Goku is showing. I think that one might be a true control deck. However, we had true control decks when we had decks early in the game when generic blue was good. It was a very control-y color. It was very much about answering your opponent's things and having more long-term resources than your opponent. But even them played a little mid-rangey. Yellow Vegeta is your only real, okay, I am interacting with my opponent constantly. Part of this hot take is that because of this, Fusion World players can't handle when you control their game pieces. They get to be little crybabies. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've had someone go, sigh or groan or get upset when I stun their big guy for the 4th turn in a row, but, they're the ones that played that giant thing in in an unfair way, either by accelerating their resources or having free energy markers or just like playing it off a skill for less. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm stopping you from swinging with your busted card. Deal with it, boo-hoo. But yeah, there are very few true control decks, and Fusion World players cannot handle true control. That is why so many people are salty when it comes to Yellow Vegeta. As a true control deck, people will just get online and complain about it as though they're justified, and they're not. Alright, my number 3 Fusion World hot take. Playing the best deck does not make you a good player. There is a reason that you can be playing the same deck as someone else that does really well in tournaments, and you didn't go to Nats, did you? You might win a couple games at locals because the deck can take you there, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty of it, there is a lot more advanced decision-making that separates the high-level play from the local warriors. Playing the best deck that's in the format will only get you so far, and if anything, it teaches you to just play what's new and what you think is good, as opposed to what may fit your play style, or what may be a better meta pick. You just pick what's up, what you see people doing, you net deck it, and you play it, and you might win a couple games, but you're not giving yourself good fundamentals that way. You know, you gotta play a couple bad decks to, figure out what every card can do. The better way is to learn what every deck does and find one that suits yourself. Like, you can't. Like, during Satan City meta, I never played Satan City. I never felt like that was my style of deck. It just felt it had way more going on than I wanted to deal with, and so I wanted to play something that fit my style a little better. Could I have learned it and excelled further? Maybe, but it doesn't fit me, so I'd probably just be miserable playing it. The best deck will not just get you there. My number 2 Fusion World hot take is that aggro is a crutch for bad players. This sort of ties into what I said for my number 5, is that games shouldn't be ending turn 4. When I say aggro is a crutch, you're playing an aggro deck because you don't know how to play something mid-range or tempo or control. You are playing something that just simply swings face and hoping that you get there. And I tell you what, you might get there sometimes, but the moment you run into someone that understands the game a little bit better than you, you're gonna fold. And, this may be harsh to hear, but aggro sucks. It folds to anything that lasts more than turn 4. Yeah. If you enjoy aggro and you excel at aggro, this isn't for you. This is for people that just pick a fast deck because they'll take games, This isn't for the people that actually excel at aggro decks and understand your matchups. This is for the people that pick something fast because they think it'll just work. Alright. Let's move on to number 1. My number 1 Fusion World hot take is that the color black is boring. I know, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that one, but the color black is, I think, the least interesting color. It is a grab pile of effects from other colors when it comes to its removal. Each color in this game is sort of distinguished by its removal and what that archetype does. Black gets a grab bag of them. The only thing that distinguishes black from the other colors is that they get to remake the energy marker, which, as far as a game mechanic goes, you can get an energy marker in 50% of your games, because you'll be going second sometimes. And their whole mechanic is to just give it to you again. And, the energy marker math is probably one of the more fun things that black does, but really, every black deck, save a couple, are just mid-range slap. There's aggro slap, but there's mid-range slap. It is the most, I am just going to make plays that deal with the current situation and make the game last until I am in a favorable position. The most mid-rangey of mid-rangey. All of, when you think a mid-range card, it's probably a black card in Fusion World. The only fun black decks are the aggro ones, funnily enough. Bulma and King Piccolo. And honestly, King Piccolo is very close to a bad black deck because of the energy marker shenanigans and the mid-ranginess of it. but it swings a little faster, and making the Demon Egg is objectively hilarious. And Bulma doesn't interact with the energy marker at all, and is very much a fast deck. But it's fun. Your leader doesn't swing. It's unique. The first two black leaders, Bardock and Goku GT, and then in set 5 you got Gogeta, they're all the same deck. Until recently, Bardock got a little bit of individual support, and GT got a little bit of individual support. They were the same deck for a long time. It was just which leader did you want for your mid-range black deck. Anyway, guys, this has all just been for fun and for funnies. This is just rage baiting. I'm just trying to do something a little bit goofy. I'm testing the waters. Everything I said in here is meant in good light and for good fun. But, alright. Touch the things at the bottom of the video. Bye-bye.